Welcome to the Bay. Today, we've got a ringside seat for a real heavyweight title fight, the battle for the high-end gaming crown. In one corner, you've got the reigning champion, just a beast of raw power. And in the other, the challenger, a lean, modern, and super efficient new contender. Let's get right into this GPU showdown.
So, here's the crucial question for anyone out there looking to build a high-end rig. Do you stick with the established powerhouse, the AMD RX 7900 XTX, or do you put your money on the newcomer, the sleek and efficient RX 9070 XT? You know, one is all about brute force, and the other, it's all about smart.
Okay, let's really break this down. We're going to put these two absolute titans head-to-head, round by round, and see which one really comes out on top for your next build. So, let's meet the contenders.
Now this tale of the tape tells a fascinating story right off the bat. You've got the RX 970 XT, the efficiency king, coming in at a sharp $599 with a lower power draw. But then you look over at the RX 7900 XTX, the 4K raster powerhouse, and it's flexing a massive 24 gigs of VRAM, but for a much, much higher price. And that's the core of this fight, modern efficiency versus raw, beastly specs.
All right, let's kick off round one with what so many of us care about the most, pure, raw gaming performance. We're talking no tricks, no upscaling, just raw, rasterized frame rates. You know, how fast can these cards just push pixels? This is the ultimate test of brute strength.
And wow, just look at how close this fight is at 1440p. The new 9070 XT is putting up an incredible fight. You can see the 7900 XT is holding a slight lead, averaging 247 FPS compared to 227. I mean, they're really trading blows here. For anyone with a high refresh 1400p monitor, both of these are going to give you an absolutely amazing experience.
But what happens when we crank it up to 4K? Well, this is where the old champ starts to land some heavy hits. That wider memory bus and all that raw horsepower lets the 7900 XTX pull ahead by a solid 10 to 15%. In the world of native 4K gaming, that extra hardware really makes a difference. So, round one, it's got to go to the champ.
But hey, this fight isn't just about raw power anymore, is it? So for round two, we're talking about the new tech. Things like ray tracing, AI upscaling, and all the architectural smarts. This is where the fight gets a little more technical. And right here, you can see the different philosophies in action. The 9070 XT comes out swinging with its newer RDNA 4 architecture. That means much better ray tracing performance and, here's the big one, the huge advantage of FSR 4 upscaling. Meanwhile, the 7900 XT is relying on its raw hardware, that massive memory bus and VRAM. FSR 4 is really the challenger's secret weapon to punch way above its weight.
And don't just take my word for it. This quote from our source really hits the nail on the head. When you flick on those beautiful, super demanding ray-traced effects, the smarter architecture of the 9070 XT lets it close the gap and even pull ahead. And it does it all while sipping less power. Now that is a massive technical counterpunch.
Okay, it's time for the final round. And for a lot of us, this is the main event. It's the battle for your wallet. Let's talk price, efficiency, and that all-important metric, pure, simple value.
First up, the reigning champ, the RX 7900 XTX. Well, it's typically going to set you back a hefty $999. That is a serious investment for a top-tier card, and it sets the high watermark for this comparison.
And then, bam, the challenger lands an absolutely staggering blow. The RX 9070 XT steps into the ring at just $599. That's a massive $400 difference. And that, my friends, completely changes the conversation for most builders out there. And this chart right here, this is the knockout punch. When you actually look at the frames per dollar, it's not even a contest. The RX 9070 XT gives you so much more performance for every single dollar you spend. For anyone building with a budget in mind, which, let's be real, is pretty much everyone, this could be the deciding factor. The value here is just, it's undeniable.
So the bell has rung. Who's the winner? Well, like any good PC build, it really depends on what your goals are. There isn't just one champion for everybody. So let's break down who should pick which card.
Let's start with the 4K max settings purist. If you're the kind of person who just wants the absolute highest native frame rates, no compromises, and you see the long-term value in that huge 24GB VRAM buffer, then yep, the old champ, the RX 7900 XTX, is still wearing the crown for you. But what if you're a gamer who just loves those cinematic, single-player experiences? You know, with all the beautiful, ray-traced eye candy cranked up, playing at a crisp 1440p or maybe even upscaled 4K. In that case, the new challenger, the RX 9070 XT, is your undisputed champion. It's just smarter.
Now, what if you do more than just game? For all you content creators out there, you heavy modders, or anyone whose workflow just eats up VRAM for breakfast, that 24GB buffer on the RX 7900 XTX becomes a killer feature. It just makes it the more comfortable and capable choice for serious productivity work.
And finally, we get to the group that I think a lot of you belong to, the high-end value buyer. If you want the smartest purchase that gets you incredible performance, all the modern features, and great efficiency without totally destroying your bank account, the RX 9070 XT's value is simply unbeatable.
So at the end of the day, the choice really comes down to you. Are you chasing the absolute peak of raw, untamed performance, or are you looking for the smartest, most efficient path to incredible high-end gaming?
You know, for a much deeper dive with way more game benchmarks and a super detailed analysis, you've got to check out the full article from our friends over at bestgpusforgaming.com. They really get into the nitty-gritty. And that's it for this explainer. Keep it cool and keep building.